our graph with Second Harvest. Again, our topic today is child hunger, how we interact with families with children and schools and agencies that work with youth. Our panelists today are B. Mullen from the Neighborhood House, Kathy Kirchhoff, who's the food shelf director at the North St. Paul Food Shelf. And I don't know if Jerry's here yet, but Jerry Sparby from the Yes Network was going to join us from St. Cloud. So we'll see if that works. And B, since I know that you're queued up, would you like to tell us how you work with the schools and families with children? You'll have to just unmute yourself.
There you go. So I work for the Neighborhood House, and I work in what you call a family center. We have 6 of them, and I believe 4 of them are inside of schools. 3 of them are inside elementary schools. 1 is a high school. Um, in our family centers, we have a food pantry that is used by the students and their families. I see firsthand how how much food insecurity there really is among families, especially with children. Um, we have children that, although they're not allowed to shop, they do ask for food mainly for the weekend. Um, and of course, we make sure that they have what they need. We have a small food pantry, so we give out emergency food, which is enough food for like 2 to 3 days. Our pantry is used by not only the families of the schools that we are in, it's for the surrounding communities as well. And so we do depend on Second Harvest, to get our food. Unfortunately, we never seem to have enough, But give you an example that sticks in my mind. Um, I had a young man come to me in 4th grade, and he brought a teacher along, which was good. I can give him food as long as he has the teacher. And he stood there and he planned a meal, with what we had on our shelf. He's 4th grade now. And he picked out, I believe, macaroni and cheese for dinner for the night. And then the next day he took, I believe, like beefaroni or what cans. But he not only probably made it known that he needed food for his family, he came in and he picked the food out. And I have no doubt that he also prepared that food for his family. So food insecurity is something we see, is who we are. Not only does the neighborhood house have food pantries, we have a food market that does serve communities in the St. Paul area. So, yes, I applaud Second Harvest for what they do.
So what else goes on at the family service centers then in the schools?
Okay, again, could you repeat that?
And what other services do you have at your family service centers in the schools?
Okay. Now, in the neighborhood house, we also provide things like rental assistance. We can help with Mensure, health insurance. We help with utilities. Um, oh, gee, we do a host of things to help family struggling with insecurity, not just food, housing insecurities as well. And so we do a number of things, like I said, I work in family centers, so I every day it could be another need, and we try to fill that need with our services that we provide, you know, rental assistance and housing searches, um, helping people with evictions, just a number of things.
Okay. And the schools then they give you a room to use in this right in the school.
They give us the space. Yes. And sometimes some of the schools
Okay.
actually provide funding for us. We also have
Oh,
counterparts. Um, Wilder, the Wilder Foundation helps us out a lot. So, yeah, we provide, like I said, we're not only in the schools, we work with the surrounding communities in St. Paul. We have offices in West St. Paul, the east side of St. Paul. It's if you're not familiar with St. Paul, it's like the Dayton's Bluff area in the north end.
mm-hmm.
So we are able to reach quite a few people with our support, our services that we use to support families.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for sharing. Are there
Sure.
any questions that anyone has for B? Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you so much, B. I
Sure.
understand that you've got something to go to, so I don't want to keep you any longer, but thanks so much for being here.
Okay, yes, we are doing a fresh food distribution today. And I know we probably got people waiting already, but I will check back in with you at another time.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, and then we have Kathy Kirkhoff, who's the food shelf director at North St. Paul Food Shelf and the Penguin Market. And I believe I saw Kathy online. So Kathy, if you want to unmute yourself. Oh, did I see her on? Oh, am I saying the wrong name? Yeah, Kathy. Kathy, are you still there? You'll have to unmute yourself. So click on the button in the lower left-hand corner that it looks like a microphone. All right, she might be having some technical
Now, can you
difficulties, but I
hear?
do. Oh, there's,
Can you hear me
yes, now we can hear you.
now? Okay.
Yes, thank you,
I'm seeing a
Kathy.
different picture. I don't even
Would
know if
you,
you can see me, but that's all right. My name is Kathy.
okay,
Okay. My name is Kathy Kirkhoff, and I'm the manager director of the North St. Paul Food Shelf. Um, we have been around for over 40 years, but not at the uh, growth that we are experiencing. I've been here 5 years, and they didn't have paid staff here for all those years um, until I came on. Now we have grown a great deal. We've tripled our intake. We serve, well, we aren't a large food shelf, but we have a large space now. We used to be in a garage. We work with the school system in North St. Paul's, school system 622. One of our partnerships is with one of the grade schools. And once a month, we have a food drive at the school. I order food for them, and then any excess we have here is also brought over there. We serve up to about 50 families a month. Sometimes that varies. Now, during the summer, because school is not open, they choose not to do this. So we'll be starting again this next month. Now, that has been very helpful to them. The families come in, and also we see
okay,
a lot of the children are the ones that we want to make sure that get the food. So we think about the nutritious things in ordering for them. We want to make sure they get a lot of vegetables and foods that will help their learning. The other partnership we have is with one of the local churches. We do a pop-up produce thing during the summer, the growth season, which has been very helpful to them and to the neighborhood and to the kids. So we see a lot of children at that too, and we're giving nutrient food out. We have, I heard Bee talking about some of the things she has going on there. One of my hopes, dreams, and goals is to get a little bit more. We work in it so much with other things that families may need. We see a lot of homeless, surprisingly, in the Maplewood, North St. Paul, Oakdale area. Well, all over the city, we're seeing them. We're treating or serving people from all over St. Paul and all the suburbs. But what we're seeing is that need has increased. And we know we have a lot of, I have gotten the service of a translator because we have a lot of ethnic people now who are new to the area. They are new to maybe Minnesota. I think for the most part they are. And so we have been having that service, which helps us be able to serve them. And most of them have lots of children. So we're serving larger families now too, and working with them to help them any way we can. There's many calls I make to some of the Dakota County, Washington County, Ramsey County for help with things that people come in with. They need housing. We'd like to have an in-house person here, and at some point that's something I'm going to have, is someone that be able to deal with those other dimensions of people, of growth, and how we can serve the people that need it. We have a good senior group here. I am waiting for to serve them from Second Harvest. We want to get started with that program. And adding more schools. We have a lot of school, not partnerships, not the routine partnerships, but a lot of the schools call with the things is there some way we can get some of your excess in things we need? We have a lot of the troubled children that need special things according to the teachers. And so we have helped a great deal with that with our rescue foods, which we have been blessed with that. We are seeing that we are having problems with keeping our storage up, or not storage, but I mean just our regular supplies coming. So that has been a problem lately because of the influx of new people. So
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on that?
We did have one question, and let's see here. They're wondering, what's the difference when someone comes to the school and that's a distribution there? So you just bring the food like to a parking lot?
It's inside the school. And
it's inside.
deliver it to the school, and then volunteers at the school will then kind of, if it's like 50 pounds of potatoes, they break that down for the families. And
okay.
So they have quite in also the church. We are doing the partnership with the high school because we see the need there a great deal with, according to their school staff, that the kids are needing food that they aren't getting at home. So there is a pantry in the high school administration area, at which we are going to be ordering food for and watching the progress there of the needs that we can meet in different
Okay.
ways, but of course with the food so that they learn. That is so essential to their learning. And a lot of this is all private, so people don't have to know that they're asking for food. That's handled by a social worker there who signs them up. And we make sure they get the food. So, and keep records of
So
that.
you do you do this distribution at the school, and you have a pantry at the school.
Right.
Okay, and I think when you said food drive at the school, I think you meant food distribution, didn't you?
Yes. Sorry, food drive is something different.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then do you also have a food shelf?
Oh yeah.
A regular food shelf?
A regular food shelf.
Okay.
We have a section of I call it second best. It's food that's it's rescue food that is absolutely essential to us. People can come in there and eat every day and get the food there. Appointments, of course.
Okay.
I wouldn't like to call any of our food second best, but some of it is that we've graded it, we've dated it, and put it in this special area. We have a couple of coolers, and it might have deli food, things that have to go out as soon as possible from rescue foods. So we have two areas in our space in our building. Yeah.
Okay. And so is it, why have you found that, what's the reason for bringing the food to the school instead of having people come to the food shelf?
We do urge them to come for full, the families, but a lot of times it's a matter of privacy for them. The teenagers may not want anybody to know that they're hungry. They need food, and we know that they need it for their learning. So we have it brought there. We deliver it there after I order it, and then it's assigned. We just keep track of who's coming in, and of course that's all data privacy too. But we keep a record of how many times and as they need it. But we find that it's very important to those children that are needing the food.
So school is just more, they can have more privacy in picking up and dignity in picking up the food.
So it's just
rather than going to a food shelf.
Right. It's the students that get the food there. However, we also let them know that to come over to the food shelf so that they can get more of a variety.
Okay. So they can pick up at the school.
Yeah.
And then they can also come over to the food shelf.
Right.
Okay. And who, there's a question about who manages that food distribution at schools. So I think you mentioned.
Right, social workers. Yeah.
The social workers?
Yeah.
Wow,
not the teacher.
Good for them.
The social worker is there and actually knows more probably a lot of times than the teacher about who needs it.
And so do the social workers actually put the food out once you bring it there so that people can...
it's all like it's like a small food shelf on the shelves with the food, and then the student will come in and will say what they need. They will see what they can take, and that's just given to them. They can pick out what they want. It's selection, choice. So, yeah.
Okay, and that's at the distribution?
Yes.
Okay.
Bart, if I could just ask Kathy a kind of a clarifying question, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure everybody's followed that. North St. Paul Food Shelf is actually working at 2 schools right now. They've had the Penguin Market for a while.
Yeah, about 3 years.
And that's,
Yeah.
and that's at one of the high schools, right, Kathy?
Penguin Market is the middle school.
Oh, at the middle school.
Yep.
And then I've been working with Kathy and the folks at the North St. Paul District 622 to help support their basic needs pantry at the high school.
Right.
So those are 2 different locations and they're 2 different distribution models. The Penguin Market is a big mass food giveaway. And then the new pantry program at the high school is a school pantry.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. All
And
right.
then
And so,
since I'm unmuted, Kathy, it occurs to me, I thought it might be interesting for folks to hear, like, tell us a little bit about what it took to set up the relationship with the middle school and then the relationship with the high school. Like, what was that like for you?
Oh, okay. It was interesting because a lot of our volunteers at that time before COVID, or right before COVID, were teachers. The volunteers were teachers and said that there was a large community of people lower income, and statistically pointed out that they had little income, and so that they needed food. Some of them were, well, most people were told, and there was publications that we were here, but they weren't coming here to the food shelf. A lot of them weren't. So we talked to the teachers about the room, what we could do, how we could work it out so that people did get food. And so we decided on, for their purposes and ours, that we would order for them, and it would be once a month. At this point in time, it still is once a month, but it works real well because we order it, it comes here, and then we take it over to them, and any excess that we might have, so that they can contribute, or just make it a little bit spread out a little bit more.
And that was for the Penguin Market, Kathy?
and
Yeah.
you have,
Yes. And in the case of the 622, we will be ordering again, and we will be bringing it over there and helping them decide what kind of foods are, the nutrition. We don't want to just take candy bars over there, although there's nothing wrong with them having a sweet, but also making sure they get some nutrition, which is what they need for their brains. So, and of course, they may not have it at home. We are seeing a lot of homelessness, like I said, and it's not just prevalent on the streets, it's prevalent in the schools.
okay, any other questions that you'd like to ask Kathy? Thanks so much for sharing, Kathy.
That's
Sure
quite all
appreciate
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then we have Jerry who's going to share with us. And Jerry is from the Yes Network. And he is a summer feeding program at schools, and CACFP sponsor also at schools. So he's not necessarily, we don't deliver food to him, but we partner with Jerry in that he's a partner for the schools and applies for our grants and so forth. So Jerry, would you want to tell us about your relationship with the schools?
Sure.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for I had a little mix up there to start with, but anyway, yes, we we started in St. Cloud in 2011. So we've been at this for about 12 years. Anyway, we started out with just doing summer programming, summer food. And we worked with the school district and we provided meals for their summer school program. And then we also provided meals in the neighborhoods. So one of our philosophies was that our nonprofit is that most kids don't have an opportunity to make a difference or add value. And so we were going into the neighborhoods with meals, and we asked the kids, the middle school and high school kids, to help us with serving, but also to help us with the little kids, and then also with all the garbage pickup and so forth. Then we also had teachers and university students helping us. So we'd play games and do art and dance and different things. And so the kids, the older kids, we asked them to help us with the younger kids in that way also. So we did that for a number of years, and we continue to do that. COVID has changed the neighborhoods in a way that I think all of you have discovered, and not for the better. But we also then started doing the after-school programming. We would provide meals and programming in the neighborhoods is what we started out doing. And then the schools asked us to come in and help us with their meals. So we provide a supper meal at 5 of the schools in St. Cloud. And our relationship with the St. Cloud school system has grown. When we started out, we were using the St. Cloud State University kitchen to make all the meals and distribute. We are now in the school system. So the school district is providing a kitchen for us to use after hours and in the summer. We also hire then some of the cooks from the district to help us with food preparation. And then also the district does help us with distributing and serving the meals in the after school program. So they will hand out the meals, use the clicker, do all the paperwork, etc. So we basically are the facilitators now in the after school program. And in summer, we pretty much run the program ourselves. This past summer, we had about 20 teachers helping us. And I don't know how many middle school and high school kids. We had quite a few. We've had up to 150 high school and middle schools, the kids helping us. Besides, we do give them a stipend of $400 for the summer for those kids that work with us. We also work with career solutions organizations and partner with them. And so they hire a number, or we hire the kids, and they provide the resources to pay the kids. So this past summer now, we had quite a few of our kids were hired and paid for through Career Solutions. So that helped us with our budget. Yeah, so that's us in a short 2-minute explanation. I don't know if you got questions or want further explanation. I'm more than willing to help.
Yeah. So can you sort of give a background of the Yes Network, when you started, why you started, how long
Sure.
you've been running, what your mission is?
So in my first career, I was a public school teacher and principal, and out at Cold Spring, we had a school shooting. And in that school shooting, it basically, when you're in a small town, where in any place you have it takes you down anyway. So I went back to school and got my counseling and therapy degree. And then in the meantime, then St. Cloud Schools or University called and offered me a job. So I went over there and started teaching over there. But my thought was that the school shootings is not just the schools issue. It's about a community. It's about healthy communities, and it's about kids. It's about kids not being isolated, because what I found in my work was that the shooters across America, the kids who are suicidal or dealing with depression, are those invisible kids in the classroom and in the neighborhoods. And so our vision and our goal was to provide visibility, make them have presence, add value, and be a valued part of the community. And I'd love to tell you we've been 100% successful, but that wouldn't be true. I do believe we're making a difference. I do believe there's a lot of kids that are having opportunities to do things that would never have had an opportunity. The other thing that's really been magical since we started was the first few years, I relied totally on university students from my class that I had at the campus. And I realized that, and a lot of those kids were future teachers. who really had no idea what these kids were experiencing in their neighborhoods. And so to come and be a part of their neighborhoods for the summer was life-changing for them, not only as human beings, but as teachers. And so now this last year, I do think, let's see, I think I had 14 or 16 teachers from the district out helping us. And like I said, it's life-changing for them and for the kids, because the kids experience the teachers in a whole different way than they do in the classroom. Let's put it that way. And the teachers experience the kids in a different way. So,
Right.
yeah. So when you're in
Yeah.
the neighborhood, you're on their turf and you're their guests. And when they're in your classroom, you've got control. It's just a flip flop. Yeah. So that's a little bit about what we're doing. I don't know. Any other questions?
Yeah. There is a question. Is it open to all students?
Yes. We have. So we were in 28 neighborhoods a year ago. This past year now, I didn't have enough staff to do 28 neighborhoods. So we were in, I think we ended up in 16 neighborhoods. And we were strategically across the city, and they're all open sites. So kids from other neighborhoods could come to those neighborhoods, or families. So we pretty much cover the whole St. Cloud area. One of the challenges we're having is, and I heard it from you people, there are others also, is that we have a lot of adults that come and want meals, and we're a summer food program, which is for kids. And so we were turning adults away, and we've stopped doing that. We just keep track of the adult meals, and then we deal with them in a different way. We find other resources to pay for their meals. It was just too hard to tell these people who needed a meal that, no, these meals are for kids, go away. And so that is one thing that we have done. In fact, we just went through our audit with the State Department. They said, "Oh, Jerry, you shouldn't be doing that." And I said, "Well, you stand out there and tell these parents or these people that they can't have food. I'm not going to do it." So that has been one of the things that we've struggled with. The other thing is that if kids are in activities and where they're serving, parents come to grab food for their kids, because when they get home, they're going to be hungry. And that's been one of our challenges, because we can't give food to parents. The COVID opened that door, and now we can't. And so that's one of the things we're trying to figure out how to do, because there are a lot of parents who show up saying, "Well, my kid's at religion class, or my kid's playing softball, or my kid's playing soccer, and when she gets home or he gets home, there won't be any food." But it's one of those things we have not been able to figure out yet, to be honest. So those are a couple of the issues that we're dealing with.
Yeah. And where do you cook your meals?
This year, we did all of our meals out of one of the schools' kitchens. The school districts, we're like this, that we have an amazing relationship. I can't say enough good things about St. Cloud schools and the relationship we've developed with them. So we use their kitchen. In the after-school program, they also let us use one of the kitchens that have the fewest students in that building. So we're able to use their freezer space, their refrigeration and storage space. So we keep the food separate, but yet, but with their help and their facilities, it helps us keep the food costs of doing this minimal. So yeah, that's how we do it.
All right. Any other questions for Jerry? Well, thanks, Jerry. That is so exciting. I just love that.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity here. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other general questions that anyone wants to ask? Otherwise, we're going to go to, all of you, the group that is here today, and open it up. Maybe this has, given you some thoughts about what you're doing with families and children, or what you're doing in working with schools, or maybe with the youth agencies in your community. So let's just have a chance to share from the entire group. If there are any other ideas out there that we could maybe replicate somewhere else. So we'll just open it up. And if you would want to share, just unmute yourself and go ahead and introduce yourself and share.
Hi, my name's Julia Anderson. We run something similar, but not as huge as some of you guys do. We run actually out of the Centennial Community Schools, and there's 10 schools total. And we actually give them packs for the weekends. So we'll create a weekend pack, which includes 2 meals, like a mac and cheese, Chef Boyardee microwavable meal, and then a fruit, like an applesauce container, and then 2 breakfast items like a Nutri-Grain and a cereal box, and then 4 to 5 snacks. And we do that to like I said, there's 10 schools, and we end up doing about 300. It went up. It's like 300 a week right now is what we're doing. So it's something.
Wow. Thanks, Julia.
Mhm.
Any questions for Julia about that? I see there's a question here, and maybe it's for Jerry. When supporting adults with meals, what are some of your other funding sources? Like, how do you pay for those adult meals then?
The United Way has been our biggest supporter. Uh, the Second Harvest funds, we use those also to help with those situations. But it's between those two right now have been our main resources to help with adult meals.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else want to share with how they're working with schools or families and children, especially, or youth groups throughout the community? Anyone else want to share? Okay,
I guess I have a question.
sure.
I'm looking for more ideas for after school programs. There's so many kids, they leave school and they go home and they get on their device, and that's where they stay the rest of the night. And I'm looking for, I'm sure there's a lot of different things going on across the state, country. And if you got something unique going on in your area, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, this is a good group for that.
Mhm.
Anyone have anything to share about activities for after school youth that's going on in your community that you could share?
No, this is Julia again. That's a tough one. I know we've got a school called Pine School, and it's with it's kids that they found are truant and they're not going to school in the United States, right? You're required to go till you're 16. So they'll bring them to that school. And one thing they found is they've started a garden. And a lot of these kids are just very interested in the gardening process, that concept. And it's very, very interesting that I went and talked to some of them, and they're so proud of taking these little seeds and what they have to do. And it's interesting, and that's something that intrigued them versus, like Jerry was saying, just on their devices. It's so hard to get kids away from those stupid devices. But that was one thing that they found that they were just intrigued with. So
All right. That's a great pastime. Kathy, did you have something to share? Okay. Anyone else? Any after school activities that you think are dynamite? All right. What, and do you find that, I know a lot of you have backpack programs, and one of the questions that came up was, do kids really need food that they can cook for themselves? What are you finding in your programs? Are the kids actually going home and making, taking it out of the bag that you've given them and cooking it for themselves, or are they, giving it to their parents or older siblings to cook? What have you? I know a lot of our have backpack programs. Any thoughts on that?
And that's a tough one because for us, we don't really monitor the kids that take the food. So I'm not sure about that question. I know it's interesting because we also have a program where we do it. I think most of the backpack programs are where it's discreet. We don't know the kids and they don't know us. But we started something where they could return the food anonymously. So we've got like a box at all the schools where the kids could put the food they don't want in there. And we haven't noticed any of that type of food coming back. What we did notice is we were doing shelf stable milk, and that seemed to come back quite frequently. So we've stopped that. But at least I know those meals,
Mm.
they're getting eaten, I think, because they're not getting returned and they're not being seen in the garbage. And now who cooks it for them, that I don't know.
Thanks for that, Julia. Yeah, unstable internet, so but let's see here. Alana also said we only give things out that kids can handle themselves without using the oven or stove. A lot of our parents aren't home to help with this, so for safety, we don't give out items that need to have a stove or oven to eat. Anybody else have experiences or have done any surveys with the families or have any anecdotal? Okay. Uh, Bree was going to talk a little bit about, sorry, Sophia, our communication specialist, was going to talk a little bit about the child hunger bulletin that we're going to be beginning fairly soon. Sophia?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick plug for this bulletin because we are going to be starting it up again quarterly, starting this fall with the beginning of the school year. So it is geared towards both our school partners, but also I think anyone like you who, if you do school programming, if you're curious about school programming or how to partner with schools or just learning more about the whole child hunger, systems and resources, feel free to sign up. So I'm going to put a link in the chat where you can go ahead and sign yourself up for that bulletin if you'd like.
Okay. She put if you want to go ahead and sign up for that. Thank you, Sophia. Anything else? Reminder that next month we will be meeting on Thursday, September 28th. And then October we'll be meeting again, but we take off November and December just because they're such crazy months for you guys. September 28th. And so we hope to see you then. Thanks everyone for joining.